We are all familiar with the outlaw and gang leader Dutch Vanderlinde, known for his good looks, charm, outfits, and most of all his silver tongue.
We are gonna be harvesting mangoes in Tahiti. Farmers.
Dutch is a character loved by most and hated by few. But what if I told you Dutch was more than a charming outlaw with a dream? What if I told you, beneath the style and the I have a plan speeches, Dutch was building a cult and no one noticed? The first time we ever see Dutch is in the first Red Dead Redemption. But at this point, he's a shell of his former self. But yet, he is still leading people. This time though, it's not a group of outlaws, it's a group of young Native American men who are lost, angry, and looking for direction. And once again, he gives that to them. He preaches the same thing we see him preach in RDR2, which is about corruption, civilization, and the lies of the American government. But the difference is, by this point, he's no longer wearing a mask. There's no more charm, no more campfire speeches, just a broken man using vulnerable people to fight a war he's already lost.
Let the professor go and send your boys back to their families.
Well, that sounds like a beautiful plan, John. Only problem is, my boys here, they already lost their families a long time ago. We aren't thieves, John. We're fighting for something a bit like you, only we're fighting for an idea. Not just for ourselves.
But that's the core of Dutch's character. He needs to be followed. It doesn't matter who's behind him, just as long as someone is. Dutch wasn't leading with fear, at least not at first. He took people in who was alone, people who were left behind and outcasted from the world. He led with his words and made freedom sound poetic. It made people around him feel like they were a part of something bigger. He gave the gang an identity and the enemy. And most of all, he gave them hope. But hope, when manipulated, can become a leash. And Dutch knew exactly when to pull it. Y'all like that? That was jazz hands. That was fire. That was a bar. No, that was. Now a cult can be a cult without isolation, not just physical distance from the outside world, but emotional distance too. Dutch made sure his gang had both. At first, it feels like survival. Blackwater Heist gone wrong. The entire law is after you. Hiding makes the most sense. But with each move, the gang doesn't just get further from the law. They get further from reality. Dutch does this intentionally to cut off escape routes. No towns, no stability, no outside voices. Just a group of misfits listening to his every word. The more isolated the group becomes, the more dependent they are on Dutch's plan. And the moment anyone starts to question it, he calls them weak or cowards. Hosea questioned too much. Arthur stopped believing the cause. And John didn't have faith. But Micah never questioned anything. And Dutch doesn't just want loyalty. He wants it blindly and without question. Dutch has an ability to make every word he say mean so much and so little all at the same time. Oh my goodness, y'all, I cannot talk. He repeats phrases like one more score, have faith, or his most famous quote, I have a plan. And anytime the gang deals with any doubts or fears, they cling to these words. Dutch is great at making these words mean everything to the gang. That's how cult leaders keep control. They don't need truth, they just need consistency. Even as Dutch's plan fall apart, even as the bodies pile up and the gang loses everything, all he says is, just one more score, and people still believe.
Trust Dutch, Mr. Morgan. You have to.
No matter how charismatic a leader is, eventually someone is going to question them. And Dutch, he doesn't like that at all. The moment people start to think for themselves, Dutch doesn't just push back. He points to them as traitors. Arthur begins to see through the lies. John wants out to save his family, and Dutch turned on them both. And Hosea, Dutch's oldest friend, started to challenge Dutch more and more every single day. And if it wasn't for Agent Milton putting Hosea on a t-shirt, Dutch would have, without a doubt, turned on him too.
I really miss my nigga.
It's classic cult behavior. The group only stays together if everyone believes. So anyone who starts to doubt the mission or the men leading it becomes the enemy. Doubt isn't seen as concern, it's seen as betrayal. Dutch isolates the loyal from the disloyal, or at least who he thinks is disloyal. And one by one, the people who care most about him, the ones he pushes away, he replaces them with blind followers. Or worse, with Micah Bell. Every cult leader has a right-hand man. Well, at least that's what I think. I've seen a lot of cult movies. But for Dutch, it becomes Micah. But Michael isn't loyal to the people. He isn't loyal to the game. He's just loyal to Dutch. Blindly, ruthlessly, and without question. He tells Dutch exactly what he wants to hear, and he feeds into Dutch's paranoia and delusions. And in return, Dutch starts to listen to Micah more and more than anyone else. Now, a lot of cults come and go for a big reason, and that's because there comes a moment when the illusion breaks, when the promises run dry, when the leader's words stop working, and for Dutch, that moment came too late.
I don't get you. Don't get you no more.
Oh, the doubting. The doubting.
The gang is broken. Hosea is gone, Arthur is dying, and John is out. And without these core members of the group, the rest of it falls. Dutch isn't a leader anymore. He's just a man holding on to what he once was, even when Micah is exposed. Even when Arthur begs him to see the truth, Dutch doesn't act. He hesitates. Because deep down, he knows he's lost him. He lost everything, but he did it all to himself. Dutch Vanderlinde wasn't just an outlaw. He was a prophet of a dream that never existed. A man who controlled people with big words and false hope, who confused loyalty with worship, and who built a cult that rode with him until the lies ran dry. In the end, he didn't need enemies, he created them. He didn't lose his way. He just refused to accept he'd already lost. People say it was the hit that he took during the trolley heist, but if you pay attention, Dutch was losing it from the get-go. He was making bad decisions since the start of the game. People just still hung on to the things he was saying. It still felt true. It still felt like he actually cared. He never had a real plan. He simply wanted people to do what he say as he says it, to believe in what he's seen. The issue is, he didn't see much. He didn't do it for money. He didn't do it for glory. I think he simply did it just because he could. But even at the end, he was able to go out on his own terms.